Hey, good afternoon, Houston, Harris County, and everybody else. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Petty Politics. Today, I am joined by the Audrie Lawton Evans, who is a candidate for Harris County Attorney.
Yes.
Welcome to the
Yes.
pod, girl.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I am so excited to be here. I'm
Yes.
probably one of your first fans when you
Yes.
started
Ooh,
to
girl.
do this
Ooh, that's been a long
a
time.
while back, right?
Yes.
But I'm just happy to see that you're still here. I'm happy to actually be on the show.
Yes.
And so I'm just ready to talk a little bit more about myself, about this run, but about politics in general.
Yes.
As well.
Girl, it's a lot to talk
It's
about.
a lot to talk about, isn't it? Yes.
So we've known each other close to 10 years now.
Yes.
And you've watched this thing grow. So it's such an honor to have you on.
Thank you.
Because you're one of our first supporters. So I want to thank you for that and for being here today.
Thank you.
So let's get right into it.
All right.
You know, our first question is always tell us about the first time you voted or something memorable about voting.
Yes. So I will tell you, it was not the first time I voted, but it is definitely when I became super engaged in politics. And that was, go figure, when our president, Barack Obama, first ran for office. And so I remember watching a DNC convention and seeing him speak. He was a speech
senator.
Senator at the time.
No, wait.
Was he a senator?
He was a state.
Oh, what was he?
I don't think he was a state rep from Chicago.
Yes, he was. He definitely was not
Barack
Obama.
We were like, who is that guy?
Right. I was like, who is this?
Yeah.
And I remember taking a pause because, some of these things can be kind of boring, a lot of boring.
A lot of boring.
And so, when he came onto the stage, I immediately was like, who is this? This is somebody that we need to watch. And someone in my lifetime who I knew was going to be big. Right. And so then we kind of fast forwarded to the next cycle and, or maybe a couple of cycles, and he was running. And so I don't know if you remember, but it was the first time in Houston, right, where I was of age, right, and kind of knew what was going on and had the ability to kind of actually lock in. And in this race, they highlighted community. They highlighted the people in your neighborhood have these backyard barbecues or these, little meetings in your house, right? And I remember, and I actually have some people, there's a shout out to Reverend Stephanie Wilkins, who I met also at that time, Carlise Chapman as well, who were in my neighborhood, and we began to start meeting.
Okay.
And then we, convinced other people, we recruited other people to come. And from that, we actually had the first time I ever participated in a caucus.
Okay.
An actual political caucus, right? And I was like, what is this? But I kept on. So I learned what a election judge was. I learned what a caucus was and, understanding that the votes that you'd have were representative and, learned a little bit more about the Electoral College and all of those things. And then from there ended up becoming a delegate to the state convention for Barack Obama.
Oh, wow.
At that time. And so then I was introduced.
Huge.
It was huge.
Let's not run past that. Yeah, that's huge.
Because the thing is that a good candidate, right, should be exciting. Right. And I think when we saw Barack Obama, the level of excitement behind it, I didn't know enough about politics. I didn't know all the intricacies, all of whatever. I just knew I wanted to be a part of that moment. Right. And so from there, it opened me up to meeting more people in my neighborhood. I, had lived next to these people for all my life and didn't know them, and then we had this sense of community where we were making sure that, we learned what the caucus rules were. We learned how to, how to implement it. And we showed up in that small way, but we got to see the fruits of our labor.
Oh, wow.
Right?
I love that for you.
That was the thing that bit me a little bit, and then that's kind of what's kept me in politics is really the people that you meet.
Okay.
And so I've from that experience have met some people that I know today, but certainly understood how important politics is and was to our communities.
Yes, I love that. Yes. Several people have had Barack Obama experiences
Mhm.
that have come on the show, and everyone has something different.
Mhm.
And that's what I love. Even
Right.
though he may be the center of it, so to speak, everyone has their separate experience
Mhm.
from it. So now that you're a politician,
Yes.
tell us about, I remember when you were appointed to the bench and then you ran a successful campaign.
Yes.
Tell us what that first time was like,
Mhm.
you know, jumping out there as a judge.
Yes. So actually, my first run was in 2017,
Okay.
and I ran for JP seats. All right.
Yes.
And I ran for a seat. This is when I learned name recognition and how important name
huge.
rec is, right?
Yes.
And so it was the then retiring late Zanetta Burney, Judge Zanetta Burney, was in the seat. And I, wrote a letter. I sent an email and was like, I kind of figured she was going to retire, and letting her know that if she wasn't seeking her seat, I was going to run, right? And then enters her daughter, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you had a daughter. Right? And so it was, she has a daughter, and then I found out that her daughter, practiced law.
Yeah.
And wanted to wiping this off. Okay.
You had something?
Yes, of course. Always. I always do.
Like, y'all wonder why we try so hard not to touch and everything, but sometimes you don't have no choice.
Yes. Okay.
We're gonna keep it real.
Absolutely. So found out she had a daughter, and then found out she was running. Right.
Okay.
And then of course she had the same last name. So I, got out there, did not know much about politics, learned, tried to do things that were a little bit more innovative, tried to get younger people in, but just ultimately couldn't beat the name rec in that area.
That name rec is long.
That name rec is long.
It's now 22 years long.
Yes. And there's a race going on now.
Yeah. I call it the Real Housewives of Houston.
But let me tell you, people don't understand running countywide versus running in a small district. It's a lot tougher to run in a smaller district.
It's harder to penetrate that.
And it's harder to penetrate, right? And so, so I learned that lesson, but I stayed engaged, stayed, kind of helped out some of the ladies we know as the Houston 19.
I forgot about that.
Yes.
I forgot about you running for that seat.
Yes.
See, we learned something new, or we're reminded of something.
Yes. And it's a true testament to candidates, right? Is that your time, don't let one defeat
stop you from going.
Right? Don't let it stop you, because if you truly want to serve, if you truly have decided you found your calling, stick around.
I love that.
And learn more about it, meet more people, which is what enabled me to get appointed unanimously, right, by the commissioners at the time. And so then, 2021 did that, then ran in 2022, was successful at that point. But then got sued. Oh, yes. I was one of the 22 judges. We'll talk more about this, election interference that's happening. But I was one of the 22 judges that was sued over manufactured lies. Talk about what was happening to us. And so one of the things now that I'm free to talk, because that's one of the most exciting parts about running for this position, is I could actually have
you're not as restricted.
Oh yeah, I can say something, right? And so it's liberating each time that I'm out now to be able to say something. I protested yesterday with Neil Aquino, you know him, and for the John Cornyn protest. And I was so excited.
Every week.
I was so excited I had my sign up, because I have not been able to protest, as a judge.
Just down the street.
Just down the street. Yes. So I'm looking forward to that part, or this kind of new role, to have a voice.
A new voice.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why viewers, you don't get a lot of me sitting down with judicial candidates or judges, because it's very limited. what we can talk about.
Absolutely. But, that's one thing that I'm going to always do is to talk about my judicial brethren, because they have been under attack for the last couple of cycles. And it's another false narrative, right? You're hearing about them being soft on crime, that, we're letting out, murderers and all of these things. And the funny part is that although they're attacking the criminal judges, it's really, if you follow the money, it's really the civil judges that they're trying to replace. Because that's where your big money is.
Because they know people are not paying attention to it. They just know those judges.
Exactly. And we're guilty of this, right? As society, we are just a couple of buzzwords. You know what I'm saying? You never click the real article to really read the real story. That's where we
don't go beyond the surface.
Yeah, we don't go beyond the surface. And so people will believe it. I found out a lot of our people believed it, and I wanted to say, for our people, what do you think the opposite of soft on crime is? And what we've been experiencing all of our lives, right? And so, you want to make sure people are safe. You want to make sure that we're all safe. I don't want to get robbed. I don't want to get, whatever. But it's all about the process, the due process. And I think we're seeing that erode definitely nationally. I mean, that's the gig, y'all. No due process. Whether it's ICE, whether it's, you women trying to protect your, your body or make decisions on your body. They're taking away that due process that we are all afforded.
Those protections, those constitutional protections.
Yes.
I love it. Girl, I'm so happy you're here.
I am too. I'm excited.
All right. So we are pivoting from the courthouse as the judge to the courthouse as the county attorney.
The county attorney.
Talk about why this role. Part of the why now is because it's vacant.
It's vacant, yes.
But why this role?
Okay. Well, so this role, because one, I'm qualified. Right?
Come on.
I am the most qualified person for this
qualifications.
I am. And qualifications matter, right? I think that we have, for too long in our party and other, probably both sides, I'm sure, have looked at what sounds good and what the package is and say, oh, this looks like it's the shiny, coin over here. And this is what they're going to align with everything I say. And so that's who I want to vote for. Versus looking at who has the capacity to actually get the job done, right? Because that's just as important. You want to make sure we have capable people in office first, because that's the key to good government, capable people. And so I have, from my history, I've worked at the Attorney General's office. That was my first job. I've worked in state government. I worked for the disciplinary council for the state bar. So I went after attorneys that had violated disciplinary rules. I've worked as in-house counsel for a company that does tax protests. So I have a lot of experience with the very things that this county attorney's office does. A lot of times people ask me, what does the county attorney's office do?
Yes,
right.
About that
of course, right. Because we've seen Christian Menifee and he's
a rock star.
A rock star, right? And he can make anything look good, right? But let me tell you what he was actually doing, right? Is that one, it has a tremendous amount of staff. So it's 300 plus employees. That includes lawyers as well as support staff. It's a law firm. It is. Key position is a law firm. It is the law firm for the county. Our county is so big, right? We have 5 million residents in Harris County that we need a law firm. And we need a law firm to not only represent our elected officials. So this office represents the commissioners, represents our county clerk, Tanisha Hudspeth, who we think is doing an amazing job as well. The tax assessor. This also represents the hospital district. So all of the county hospitals, the appraisal review board. So, all of that, take all that into account. The fire marshal, the sheriff's department,
the constables,
all
the county agencies.
All the county agencies. And so what does that mean? That means that we actually counsel them and advise about everything. So if they have their policies for employees, the county attorney's office is going to have a hand in that. Any contracts they sign, county attorney will have a hand in that. any defense of litigation if they get sued in any capacity. County attorney's office handles that. County attorney office also collects taxes for the tax assessor, so the property taxes, right? And works out, negotiates, tries to do all of those things, toll roads, like all of that as well. What you've seen, what's most popular, is the affirmative litigation department. And that is where Christian Menifee was able to use the county attorney's office in a way that it's probably never really been used before, right? And so you saw a lot more filings for environmental injustice,
right?
Where, you know, the creosol, where the cancer clusters. You've seen the lawsuits against the Trump administration when they are trying to take away funding from our agencies.
Yes.
All of those kind of things. I think you'll see probably the most important thing now is going to be protecting our elections. That I can't say enough of, is that we are under attack.
Yes.
Right? We are under attack by our state leadership as well as our federal government. And we're kind of different as we kind of see all that's happening in some of these other places. Those are blue states, right? And so we're a red state. And
purplish.
So purplish, right? But the people who still make the decisions are red. And so whereas some of these other states, like you saw what's happening with Minnesota, right? That part of what was linked with ICE was to get the voter rolls, right? Which they've refused to give them the voter rolls. Well, a place like Texas, we've just handed them the voter rolls, right? So we've got to not only fight our federal government, but our state leadership, because when they're in Austin, this is us as federal government teachers, you know, when they're or state government, whatever, when they're in Austin, they're now making rules that are helping to suppress, you know, so each legislative session, they have
they're making new legislation each time.
Exactly, right.
And how it impacts you.
And so when you see certain stuff and you go, wow, like, how did that happen? And how did a judge do this or that? Well, then the law has changed. So you got to watch it, right? You got to watch who's writing the law and then who's interpreting the law. And we've seen just the dismantling of our government in that way, right? The checks and balances that are supposed to be there are no longer there, or they're eroding them, right? And so I think what happens though for us is that we're like overly stimulated. We're thinking about all these other things. You're not even thinking.
You got so many other things.
You got so many other things, right?
And like, then you got to focus on that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get to
I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. You know, I've got to go.
Who's going to pick up the kids from over here?
Right. Maybe I'm affected, you know, about something. Maybe something's a little bit more expensive at the grocery store, but I'm not necessarily really feeling it, right? The people in Minnesota are feeling it because they have a state that's a blue state. And they're, you know, we are cooperating with ICE because our state legislature has codified it into law that you have to cooperate with ICE. And so people don't really think about all of those things. And it's like, well, why is ICE here? Well, because your state leg said it was okay, right? And your governor is letting them in. You know.
So as county attorney, you would be positioned to fight on behalf of Harris County citizens and Harris County employees to protect whether it's their worker, their rights as an employee, or their rights as citizens, U.S. citizens, and protecting their right to vote or protecting them against injustices in other areas.
Correct. And it's that local control, right? Like, so, you know, and you think about it, and you've heard historically when you think of like government overreach, that's been a Republican talking point, right? Like, we don't, less government, you know, more whatever. But that's exactly what they're trying to do, is take away our local control, where Harris County has commissioners, Harris County has these other entities. Why can't we make our decisions for ourselves? Those are people you are electing to make those decisions. Now you have the federal government / state government trying to control what's happening in Harris County. And you wonder why, right? And the why is because we're blue.
Okay.
You know, that's the why.
That's the why. So let me ask you this. In addition to that division, so to speak, talk about, because some people may not know this, it truly is a law firm.
Yes.
It truly is. So one of the other big sections, I would call it, at the law firm or divisions is the division that handles environmental law.
Yes.
And we have a lot of environmental issues.
Yes, we do.
Here. What are your goals or plans around those?
Well, so what I want to do, right, is, and this is for the environmental part, this is for the voter part, is think proactively. Right?
Okay.
We obviously have a role where we defend or bring lawsuits when it's time, right. But things happen in, I guess I could say, they don't happen in a vacuum. And so you have where, for instance, I'm talking about these AI data centers. Okay. We don't know a lot. We don't know everything about them yet. But we do know, right, is that some places there are complaints that has caused environmental issues. It's very big suck on your water in the areas that they're there, as well as the grids or and so there are environmental concerns surrounding data centers. But there are data centers moving in here at a rate faster, you know what I'm saying, than we could ever do the studies and figure out what it is, right? So does that help you, knowing that, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to find out that this data center is responsible for X, Y, and Z, right? But we also have a number of institutions, a number of schools, a number of schools that have research capabilities, if they still have funding, okay? I mean, we talk about, you talk about the domino effect, right? But being able to partner with schools, with experts in these areas to identify ahead of time, or to at least attempt to kind of be present and kind of know what's happening in real time, and to be able to say, okay, let's do a study on the environmental effects of this or that, right? So that we can know and we have support when we come to the commissioners or we come to county and say, hey, we've got to stop this, or we need to look at the permitting. We need to look at, because that's another part, right? Enforcing permitting, making sure that they are abiding by environmental laws and cleaning up and, all of those things. So I think on 2 steps, one, with my goal would be to partner with schools, with experts, with whomever to do research about certain things, the creosote, the concrete batch plants, and, all of those things, to see what the effect is over time for communities. And then I want to also make sure that the community has an open door to county attorney's office. If you think about it, like, you've ever watched that movie, Aaron Brockovich?
Yes.
Right? Aaron Brockovich, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how a case gets started. You have somebody a community that's realized something's happening, right? Someone who is probably in the community, like a community leader that gets everybody together and knocks on doors and, galvanizes, and then they can work with the county attorney's office. We've got investigators, we've got scientists, that can go out, test the land, do this stuff, but it's a 2-part. It's a partnership.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
I love it. So speaking of partnership, let's talk about your family.
Okay. Yes.
Are you still a newlywed?
Well,
kind of.
I would say that it's my second marriage.
Okay.
So we're gonna say we're gonna be newlyweds forever.
I love that.
We'll be newlyweds forever. To keep ourselves in that mentality.
Okay,
but it's been like 7 years now.
7 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So married 7 years, and then you have 2 lovely daughters.
2 lovely daughters.
And stay in her pocket.
Yes. We were just talking about that because they text me now. So they're both in school right now. So one is a junior at Sam Houston.
Okay.
And the other one is a sophomore at North Carolina A&T.
Come on, Aggie.
Oh, yes. And so I get the best of both worlds.
Okay.
Because we have, one is a little bit closer. And then my husband and I went to GHO, which is the greatest homecoming on earth. Okay. Last year.
Okay.
Amazing. It was so much fun.
Okay.
And so she was adamant about going to a HBCU.
Okay.
And, then she just jumped ship and went all the way to Greensboro.
How did that make you feel, sending your baby away from you?
I was surprised. I was shocked. That was more of my thing. I was like, is she going to really do this? Because I didn't want her to go out there and then come back. For many reasons, because it took us a lot to get her out there. You know, the whole get plane, train, automobiles. Okay. And so then I'm like, you know, but you can't, moment something gets hard, be like, I want to figure it out. You got to figure that out. Right. And so she's done a good job of that, you know, and I'm very proud of her with that. But that was, you know, it was some anxiety.
It still
is. Like being a mother is being anxious.
But you balance it. Yeah. You balance it. And being a mother probably helps shape you in a mindset that gives consideration and empathy towards others, because
absolutely
you're dealing with it.
Yeah. My staff at with court, we were an all-woman crew. Right? Oh. Yeah, but different stages in life, right? But I understood what it was like for one that had younger kids, right? And so we didn't start till 9:30. Okay. Hey, we don't have to. Right? Yeah. We don't have to. And so, you know, that was it eased her anxiety because then she didn't have to rush to get to a job, you know. That
was perfect. You talked about your staff at the court, because the next question I was going to ask is, because the attorney, county attorney's office is so massive with over 300 employees. What has been your supervisorial experience in managing large staffs or, you know, just different people?
Yes. So I have managed staffs upwards of like 50 plus. And
very few people are going to manage 300.
Yes. Yeah. That's a lot. Right. And in this position, there's a senior leadership team that is over each of the divisions. Right. And so you have, you know, obviously meetings with them and, you know, and the rest of the employees. But and that experience of managing multiple, you know, folks, I've done that for about maybe 6 years. And then I've also managed high volume litigation. Yeah. And so that was with 2 firms that I've worked with in private practice, as well as a judge. Because, you know, any given time as a judge, I probably had about 5,000 cases on my docket. Like I'm covering, right? Not obviously not at the same time. Right. But knowing how to move those
how to
cases,
clear those cases.
How to clear your cases, understanding again the function of a law firm. And my having experience, about half of my legal experience has been with government agencies.
Yeah. So I also started off in the AG's office.
Yeah. So I also know what it feels like to be a government lawyer, right? You know, some of these people are the smartest folks in the room, and they're making a sacrifice because they could go make a lot more money in the private sector, but they love what they're doing. And so you have a lot of that too, you know. And so dealing with employee morale, dealing with, you know, other perks when you're dealing with the county, making sure that, you know, we actually had a forum maybe last week, and we talked about that. Like some of their positions are doing some work from home. You know, if that makes sense, why not do it if it's working, right? And so, you know, gonna have to navigate all of those kind of things, especially post-COVID, the whole work from home situation, you know, all of those things. So.
So let's talk a little bit about that early experience. You went to the AG's office almost immediately after law school and the bar.
Yes.
What was that like? I don't think people understand, like, you have this big attorney general, but then you have all these assistant AGs under.
Yes. And in the AG's experience is important because I look at the county attorney's office as being like a mini.
The county version of that.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of the same functions the county will handle like the AG's office. I will say this. So, you know, when you decide you're going to go to law school, you probably go in with different reasons.
Baby, I was going to be Johnny Cochran.
Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? You know,
Willie Gary.
Some people are like, I'm going to help people. Some people, I'm going to make money. Some people, you know, and so you kind of figure your track out. You know, I wasn't that person. I was. I knew I didn't want to do 80 hours at a law firm.
At a firm.
I didn't. And then it was 80 hours and you still didn't do anything. Like you never got to try a case. You're literally just working for another lawyer, kind of doing their, you know, research and writing, and you're
living
not
on
getting
Lexus
the credit.
Nexus. Yeah, that's your island.
Yeah. Whereas when I went to work at the AG's office, they were like, "Here, honey, here's your cases. You gonna go try these." Bye-bye, go,
Bye-bye.
And so I had a legal assistant and a secretary, and it was like, this is your thing, figure it out. And so I love that aspect of it. The pay was awful. Let me tell you, my first
employee, so
y'all are never gonna believe this for a lawyer. Okay, so my first lawyer job, $33,000 a year in 2003.
Oh wow.
They get paid a lot more now, but this was a time when there was like a freeze on pay and everything. But as a new attorney, I'm just trying to get experience. So I moved to Austin for $33,000 a year. But I got lots of experience. I was actually in all of the courts. I was licensed in all the federal courts, licensed in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. I mean, I stacked up a lot of experience that way.
And you probably built out a really healthy network.
Yes. Oh, still friends today, right? So that was the other cool part, was that
because I met Tracy through you.
Yes. But that's the other part, because we were in Austin. So Austin was fun. Oh, Austin was fun. And we would call it, we would go on these boondoggles to where half of our department would be gone to go to a festival, or we would slip out and slip back in because we were in a fun place. I mean, Austin would always have great music, festivals, and food. So we would always go to lunch, just had a wonderful time. It was a great first job, and it was great to meet some great attorneys from all over Texas. Still friends with them today. My best friend is Judge John Rogers. We worked at the AG's office together.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been great.
We got about 10 minutes left. Okay. I want to check with production to see if we have any comments online. Okay. Yeah. So before I get into these final questions, I did want to do that. I wanted to ask you this. Moving into this new space, right? You get past this primary, you get past the general election, and you're in office, you're sworn in next January. What message do you have for those future employees, those folks who will be reporting to you, both your senior level staff,
right,
but also the support team?
Okay. I think that my message would be, one, that you're in good hands.
Okay.
All right. Y'all are in good hands. That I understand work-life balance. That I also have an expectation for excellence. Right. So I am going to come in with that lens that we're all professional. We are all going to do the job that we are assigned. Right. And then some. Right. But I want them to know that they're going to be appreciated. And that this will be a great place to work.
Oh, I love that.
I think that that's something, the assurance that, you have a place and you have a place to stay as long as you want to be there, and are doing the job that you were supposed to do. So, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to be the type of person that comes in and makes a bunch of huge changes at the very beginning. I believe in listening. I think that that's going to be a huge thing, is to listen to all of the senior staff to figure out what are things that they think are working great, or could be changed a little bit, or, what are things they would love to see happen. So, I think there's that process of doing that, I think for the first couple of months, and, to kind of make my way and figure out that
build that rapport.
The rapport. I will be present, and I think that that's important too, that people see you and they see that you are being the example that you are asking of them. So all of those things, and approachable. Absolutely.
Another thing, moving into this, have you thought about, now we know things get thrown at you that no one's expecting.
Yes.
So not counting those, but what would be 3 major goals that you would want to not necessarily accomplish, but set into play in that first 100 days?
Right. So again, the voting piece, right? Just making sure that we are reviewing the new laws, making sure that we are interfacing with the community more. I like how the county attorney's office has started to do that, and going to civic club meetings, going to the PIP meetings, meeting people where they are, right, is very important. And so I want to make that a big priority in every division, because people need to know what the county attorney's office can do for them, right? And that means in every aspect, right? I want to talk to as many stakeholders as possible. This county attorney's office is actually moving as well. So yeah, it's a new building and all of that. And so I want to not only handle or look at, just how things are going and running in the office, but I think that the election piece is probably the most important. Making sure that, talking to our county clerk, talking to our tax assessor, seeing if they already have had any issues, or, and making sure that that's tightened up, and, responses and everything. And I want to do more with transparency. That's probably going to be one of my things, is that I think a transparent government is a good government. And there are some areas where I think we could benefit from being more transparent than not,
Love that. Absolutely. All right. So as we get ready to come to a close, we're going to give our amazing guest here an opportunity to share some parting words, but also let the audience know where they can follow you online and your website, and how they can learn more about your platform.
Absolutely. All right. So you can go to my website, which is audrieforcountyattorney.com. Good. That's a good name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Anyway, so that's my website. Go on there. You can look about me. You can look up information about me. You can also sign up to volunteer, and you can donate. Any bit is great, right? Because it takes money to run campaigns. Okay. And so, I'm out here trying to just meet as many people as I can. And so the last thing I want to leave you with is just how serious this is, right? And how serious this office is, and why I believe I am the best candidate for this position. I am the only candidate in this race, in this primary race, that has actual trial experience. It means I've been in a courtroom. I have practiced law for 23 years and tried over 50 jury trials.
Come on, litigator.
Okay, litigation is my thing. And that's important, because although the county attorney is not necessarily in court every day, right? I think you need to have an understanding of the legal process. You need to understand how cases come to be and how they're disposed of, right? I'm also the only candidate in this primary that has managerial experience. And have managed staffs up to the upwards of 50 staff and handled large caseloads. Again, that's important because the county attorney's office is 300 plus employees, right? And I am the only candidate in this primary that has judicial experience. And that's important because the Republican counterpart was also a judge. I actually just went to an event and she was there. And y'all can look her up. I'm not going to say her name. But she was there at this event. It was Darrell had a community dinner for the county attorney's candidates. And so she was a judge of county court, civil county court 2. I was a judge of civil county court 1. And we want to be a Republican, right? And so I believe that because I have all of those things, that I'm the best suited to represent the Democratic Party in November. We do not want this seat to go to a Republican. All right. And I will say that because, you guys can see with our current attorney general, right? All of the things and the gamemanship and all of the things that they can do. They can definitely make life hard for our commissioners, for the county, when we're talking about trying to do the things that everybody wants to do, language access programs, funding for immigrants, all of those things. If you have a county attorney who doesn't believe in those things, good luck getting those things passed, right? And so I just want us, even though it's a small, race at the very bottom, like it's at the bottom, y'all. Like it's very it's down far. But it's very important to you. And so I would just hope that you do your research
Mhm.
on candidates, not just my race, but all the races, because we need informed voters more than anything now.
Yes.
So, yes.
Well, this again is Audrie, Audrie
Yes.
Lawton Evans.
Yes.
And she is running for Harris County Attorney. And I just wanted to spell it. So if they go looking for your website and they put that Y,
Oh, that Y is
because
not gonna
folks like
work.
to put an E on my name, but it's Juli.
Yes.
I don't need you recorrecting it or
Exactly.
a Y.
Yes.
Don't put a Y on it. It's Juli.
JULIAUDRIE. There you go. Yes.
All right. Well, you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. for another interview.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.